Welcome back to East Texas Now. We are joined by some pretty special guests today. We are joined by Aubrey Prunty, the leader of the Lufkin Limners, as well as pretty special guests, guys. We got some rock stars on the show today. Fox Royale, how are you guys doing today?
We're doing good.
I see you have your mascot with you.
Oh yeah, we got the local cat on the interview today. So.
Now, whose cat is that though? Genuinely, or is that y'all's cat that you're traveling with?
No, we're staying at some new friends' house, and their cat has taken a liking to us this morning. So I don't actually know the cat's name. We just met. So.
Fast friends, fast friends. All right, well, let's just go ahead and jump right in. If you're not familiar, Fox Royale is a Missouri-based rock band, and they're currently embarking on their summer tour, which I want to touch on because I looked at the dates for y'all's tour, and you seem to be going to either just a different city or a different state every single night from what it looks like. You even have some tour date up in Toronto. Can you tell me about that? How is that affecting you guys just physically? That sounds exhausting.
It is. We're on week 1, so right now it's totally fine. By week like 12, we'll probably be a little wiped out. But yeah, we're going pretty much everywhere that will let us go. So anybody that invites us to play a show, we hop in the car and we drive there. So we're excited to play Canada. We've never been, so we're excited to make it technically like a multi-country stop tour, but barely, just barely over the border. So we're calling it a world tour. But yeah, it's gonna be a crazy summer. So
totally fair. You're international now.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, speaking of which, I mean, this is an international world tour. How did Andre? How did you guys find them out get them out to Lufkin?
Well, actually, Nathan and Caleb and I were all in a group called Limners up in Joplin, Missouri, a few years ago. And when I heard they were going on tour, they were coming down to Houston and Dallas and San Antonio. And I was like, you guys are in our area. Do you want to come over and hang out with some of our Limners down here, meet us? And then I was just gutsy enough to ask if they would also be willing to play for us because they're so talented and I'm such a fan. So they were really, really gracious and decided to come join us, and they're playing the show tonight for us live at Louis Bernal Park. And we're really excited about that, particularly because this park, a lot of people forget that we have an amphitheater out there. It's a tiny little stage, but it's a really cool stage, and it's in our downtown that we're all like revitalizing. And so we're trying to get the attention out there. And we've got a really cool local band, Silo Soul. They're going to be opening for Fox Royale. They actually just released their first single that you can find on Spotify. And they are so pumped to be opening for this rock band. And we're just really lucky to be friends. So I'm excited about it.
That's a fun tidbit. I didn't know you guys were all in a band prior to this. Was that also a rock band?
So we were in like an artist group. So our band has kind of been the same kind of thing the last few years, but Aubrey and I were in like an arts community up in Joplin, Missouri. So that's how we've known each other. So I think we've known each other for like 5 or 6 years now, probably, right? I think,
yeah.
At least I've known Curtis for a long time too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird. Like we just knew each other. We're from Joplin, Missouri. So when we heard that there was another arts community similar to the one that was in Joplin, we were just down to come hang out and see how it was going in a town we've never been to. But now we get to play a show too, which is always cool. So
that's so cool. Our Limners are all going to get together tonight to meet the bands and mingle at the concert because we've invited all the creatives in the area to join us. And we don't know how many people will show up. This is the first time we've done this, but our groups are really similar. Limners are just a big collaborative group of a lot of different types of creatives. So performers, painters, photographers, videographers, there's all across the creative spectrum. They're all involved, from professionals to beginners to hobbyists. It's a really great supportive artistic community that has really grown significantly in this last year. But yeah, it was inspired originally by this group from British Columbia who wanted to revitalize the arts in their area in the 70s, and they formed the Limners Society. And they were known for all their parties and for their exhibitions and their workshops, and they were just a really cool, weird group. And it's awesome. So that's where that word was kind of inspired. And it's a hard one. A lot of people are like, oh, what Limners? What is it? Lumineers?
I was trying to say, I was like, are we talking about the band Lumineers? Because I don't think
Oh,
they're
yeah,
going to be sexist now, but I will do
No.
my best. I mean,
No,
that's
Lumineers.
amazing. Is the Lufkin Limners? I wasn't able to find a whole lot of information, and so I was very intrigued. You guys hold a lot of events, it looks like. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we've started as a really private online group because we didn't want this to be, well, it grew significantly more than I expected it to as quick as it did. But we wanted to keep it private so that artists would have a chance to get to know each other and build those relationships and form those relationships, get a little bit closer. So we had a good foundation. And this is kind of how Joplin Limners started as well. There's a private group. And so it is hard to find us, but you can follow our events. If we have open events and you're creative and you want to join us, you can follow at Lufkin Limners on Instagram. And and you can see what we're up to. We actually have an event coming up at Real Graphics for Limners exclusively, where we'll get a tour of their studio, what they do, all their workshop, how they do what they do. And Chris Flanagan, the owner there, is actually going to give us the tour, and he's going to allow us to pick a t-shirt and put the Limners logo on it ourselves. We'll do some screen printing. So we get to learn something creative and introduce the artists in this community to other creative spaces and give them opportunities to collaborate with each other. I was just catching them up a little bit about what we've done, and we've had a few open studios where people have learned something new. Actually, this is an artist home that we're in right now. Erin Gentry, she hosted the first Lufkin Limners open studio. It was tie-dye. It was very fun. A lot of people got to know each other and learn something a little different. And then they all wanted to host things. And so since then, we've had multiple workshops where all types of artists have gotten together. They've either learned something new or they've shared their expertise. And it's been fantastic. It's really growing the art community in Lufkin.
I mean, I feel like the one word that you can describe it as is it seems very collaborative and
Yes.
for everyone else. Does that make
Absolutely.
sense for your group? I love
Yeah.
it. Well, let's get back to the band. Now, I read an
Yeah.
article that said that you guys were being described as kind of a traveling orchestra, which is not something that you normally hear when it comes to rock stars. So tell me more about how this sets you apart from other rock bands and what it means to you.
Yeah, so we met. My original band, like the original lineup, started because we were all traveling in a summer orchestra in high school. So we were playing, contemporary, like not quite worship songs, but like Christian radio songs. And that was what we were doing for summer, like in senior year of high school. And then after that, we started playing in a band. So we got our beginnings for our whole musical group and our whole traveling thing by just traveling around an orchestra and playing in the pit for this choir. So now we play like in a rock band, and we play more clubs and occasionally like cool amphitheaters like tonight. But yeah, we're definitely more of like a traditional like 4-piece rock band now, but we still hold to like the 4-part harmonies, and we do a lot of like stacked vocals kind of thing. But yeah, that's how it started though. We did start just traveling around in a bus.
One of the members actually has a tattoo of their original logo.
That's right. Yeah, we used to be in a band on a bus. So it's just a bus with a bunch of musical instruments. And then he got the tattoo, and then we changed our band name. But
Oops.
Good thing they aren't permanent though, right? It's good
Exactly.
that they're permanent.
Yeah.
Now, in that same article, it also referenced that this isn't the first tour you guys have done. And the last tour was kind of the very van that I'm assuming is tattooed now on his body forever, broke down a couple of times, and that tour was a little shaky getting from place to place. Are you guys a little more confident this round?
Oh yeah, we've never, surprisingly, I don't think we've ever had to cancel a show, but we have barely gotten to places on time before. So now we don't travel in a bus. We don't do that anymore. We stay in host homes when we can, and then we stay in like the cheapest hotel room we can find when we don't have a host home. And then we travel in a hybrid SUV now with a small trailer attached, because we found out that 6 miles per gallon is terrible. So we don't use the bus anymore. And now we can get like 25 to 30 miles per gallon and still have some money for food now, which is, it's a nice change. So we're becoming slowly like musicians with somewhat of a business sense. It only took us like 3 years, but finally we're like, what if we didn't lose money every time we went on the road? So
Crazy idea. What if we had money to eat after the show?
exactly.
Crazy
That's like
idea. Well, I mean, you guys are just traveling and traveling and traveling. How is this affecting you guys? I mean, I know it's your first week of this tour, but are you guys at all worried about the rest of the tour? Are you excited? What's your game plan going into this?
I'm excited. Are you guys excited?
I'm excited.
Yeah, we're going to go to a bunch of places where we have friends that we never get to see. So I'm pumped because like we get to play shows, but then we get to hang out with Aubrey, and then we get to hang out with my buddy Zach. And then there's friends up in Seattle that I haven't seen in 4 years. So like you get to go to Seattle. And now I'm actually telling people before I get there that I'm going to be there so that I can actually see them. Because sometimes they're like, you were here? And I was like, yeah, that was yesterday. And then I'm gone. So it's kind of like we get to play cool shows, but that kind of just services all of our other plans for the summer. Like I'm going to go to a Red Sox game in Chicago. I'm going to go to a Diamondbacks game in Arizona. I'm going to see the new Flash movie in LA, hopefully. So like I'm just planning all my recreation around the job of playing in a band. So I'm loving it. We saw the new Spider-Man movie yesterday, and I don't know, it's pretty fun. It kind of feels like you have a day off every day until the show starts. So it's easier than having a regular job actually. So so far it's going great so far. Yeah.
Now, I want to ask a very possibly dumb question to Mr. Davis Drake. Now, you are a classically trained bassist.
Oh, so RIP to Davis Drake. So Davis is he's not in the band anymore. This is Chase, who I keep calling Davis, but Davis was a classically trained bass player. No, it's okay. I still love Davis. He's one of my best friends. We actually just, we scored like a film together for like a community back home. I still work in conjunction pretty regularly. So if Davis sees this later on, we still love you, Davis. But yeah, and then the other guy who's not in the band anymore, who's still, again, one of our best friends, is Evan Todd. So we actually, Caleb and I are brothers, but we have like a rotating lineup of who goes on tour with us. So this is Chase, and then we've got a guy named Mario, and this is his first week on tour ever as well. He's out of Nashville, and like he's on break for the summer from college. And so yeah, we got like new people, new faces like every other week. So
how does that impact kind of the chemistry between the band constantly rotating? Are you guys all just still best friends and it just clicks immediately? Or is there that little bit of a moment where you're like, all right, what's the vibe here?
We honestly get along better, I think, this way because there's no history. So
we hire pros too.
Yeah, we hire professionals who just are here to work, and Caleb and I, since we've been in the band long enough, we get to do the bare minimum amount of work. And we're like, well, this would be the other guy's job that you're filling in for, so you can set up my stuff. No. So no, it's been a pretty good vibe so far. I think you should ask Chase though. Like, how's the vibe?
How's the vibe, Chase?
It's a good vibe.
Okay,
it's pretty nice.
I mean, it seems pretty great. You're watching Spider-Man movies. You got a cat. I mean, you're playing some cool venues. I love it.
I'm taking this cat.
Now, I know you're playing an outdoor venue tonight, and I know it's the Texas heat. Are you at all worried about being able to deal with some Texas heat tonight when you're playing the amphitheater?
No.
Nah. We're worried about more like the desert that we're playing next week. We'll be in New Mexico next week, so we played there last year. That's gonna be way worse than Texas. And I heard tonight is actually gonna be kind of cloudy, and I got a tank top on just in case it's really hot, but I think we should be okay. So.
There you go. Alrighty, well, we'll have to change the tank top for a Cowboys tank top if you're going to be, or a Mavericks if you're going to be in but we'll let you slide. So let's go ahead, start wrapping up. What time are you guys going on tonight? And is there anything else, Aubrey, that you want to know about, or anything else you want to tell us, I guess? Not know. You tell me things, I don't tell you things. About the Lufkin Limners.
Yeah, tonight, 7 p.m., Louis Bernal Park, downtown Lufkin. It's on the corner of 3rd and Burke. We're going to be playing across the street from City Hall, if that helps. We've got Silo Soul opening up, and they'll play for a little while. We'll have a lot of different creative people in the area mingling around so you can meet some local artists. have some conversation, make some creative connections. If you are creative, please find me. I'll be in this neon shirt. So come find me and talk to me. I'd love for you to join our community and see how we can get you plugged in. I'm all about trying to get local musicians and artists paid gigs around here. That's a huge deal. I want to really raise the awareness of the value of art and well-being in our area. So yeah, please find me. We're all a bunch of weirdos out here, and I think it's super fun. Stay strange, stay weird, be yourself. Come on out and join us. This is going to be a family-friendly event too, so there will be some families out there hanging out. These guys are so good. You're going to love their music. Please follow them on Spotify and Instagram. Silo Soul and Fox Royale, and you can still find some of the Guys on a Bus music on there, right? Too. Yeah. Guys on a Bus is still a thing out in the internets, So
yeah, it's
yeah.
gonna die.
Oh, and
Logo can never die. So.
at Lufkin Limners on Instagram, if you want to join any of the open studio events that we have in the future and you can't make it tonight, that's okay. We'll have a lot more to offer.
Alrighty, well, once again, the Lufkin Limners, Aubrey Prunty, as well as Fox Royale, will go ahead and we will be right back.